Well, glory be and mercy me, we've done it yet again. Here we are, daily walk in the graveyard, talking today about the BC flooding, and more specifically about how our media, as well as our political class, is obfuscating what is going on in British Columbia. So, the flooding of British Columbia is undeniable. You can type in BC flooding, you can see the flooding, you can see what it's doing. Where the obfuscation is coming in is the unwillingness of our media, as well as our political class, to talk about this as a climate change related disaster. Once again, it is being presented to us as if it is individuals individualizing their individualism. This is an individual event, 1 in 500 year catastrophe, something that completely unprecedented, couldn't have been foreseen, except it was perfectly predictable, completely foreseen by the British Columbia's own environmental department. They had been told 5 years ago, they were told that they needed to do repairs and upgrades to the levee and dike system throughout British Columbia to avoid exactly the situation that we're looking at right now. So once again, we have a classic story that comes out of the capitalist death cult, which is, no, we're not actually going to build infrastructure. No, we're not actually going to repair anything, because that doesn't make 5 people rich, right? Which, that's all that matters in this society, making 5 people extremely wealthy. So repairing and upgrading infrastructure, that's not going to do it. Sure, it might actually make for a better society. Sure, it might actually make for a nicer place to live. Sure, it might actually improve Canada and make it a better place and all of those sorts of things, but who cares about that? That doesn't have anything to do with wealth extraction. That's what we're doing here. But the true obfuscation is being done in the form of keeping from the Canadian people the amount of animal deaths that have occurred in these floods. The floods occur across one of the largest agricultural cattle producing areas in Canada. The numbers that have been speculated on are anywhere between 600,000 and as high as 11 million animals have died in this flooding. Why? Why is it that the Minister of Agriculture in British Columbia is standing up and saying, I don't want to release these numbers? Her reasons for saying this are, oh, well, it would be traumatic to the farmers, that the capitalist death cult is using the victims of the flood, the primary victims of the flood, as a leverage piece to leverage our emotional feelings towards them, to obfuscate this data. If I'm a farmer living in British Columbia and my cattle just got wiped out, my chickens just got wiped out, whatever I am ranching over there in British Columbia, that all got wiped out, I want people to know. I would want people to know the scale of the devastation. I would want people to know. I wouldn't consider hearing a number on a TV to be traumatic. What I would consider traumatic would be going through a flood that killed all of that cattle and all of those chickens and all of those animals. That's what I would consider traumatic. I wouldn't be standing there saying, oh, nobody should know. I would be saying almost exactly the opposite. Everybody should know, right? So that we can prevent these disasters in the future. So why the obfuscation? It really is as simple as the reality that the capitalist death cult does not want public opinion to continue moving against them on the issue of climate change. That if they begin reporting on the actual numbers that have actually occurred, the amount of deaths that have actually occurred because of this climate change related flooding disaster, then people are going to start saying inconvenient things like, maybe we should spend more on infrastructure. Maybe we should actually care about the nation. Maybe we should actually care about the environment. Maybe we should actually cut subsidies to the fossil fuel industry. This is, in my view, the most duplicitous and despicable part of this conversation. That we have a government that pretends like it cares about climate change, and it pretends like it cares about climate change because it knows that you care about climate change. It knows that you are the ones putting pressure on this issue. It's well aware, and it also knows that it needs your votes in order to gain power, right? Well, how has it chosen to accomplish the maintenance of power while simultaneously getting the maintenance of the fossil fuel industry? By telling overt, obvious, in-your-face, objective lies. Omitting facts, like how many animals died in the middle of this BC flooding, while simultaneously maintaining the subsidies for the industry that is producing the problem in the first place. If there was a military marching towards your city, marching towards your town, and that military was saying, we are going to burn down your town. We are going to burn down your civilization. We are coming. We are unrepentant. We are here to destroy you, like the sun is going to destroy us. And if you found out that your government was the one that was funding this military to come in and wipe you out, what would you say of your military? What would you say of your government as they actively subsidized the army that was coming in to actively and overtly destroy you? This is precisely the situation we find ourselves in today, with the liberal government's consistent subsidization of our fossil fuel industry. And it isn't like there isn't an alternative choice. Jagmeet Singh of the NDP has already committed to eliminating these subsidies. We've already committed to getting rid of the core basis for the existence of these fossil fuels. Why aren't we pulling the trigger? Because that doesn't make money for 5 rich men. This is the insanity of what it is to be alive here in Canada today. This is the absurdity. We are the worst offender for pollutants in the G20. We have increased our emissions. Our Nazi collaborating pedophile leader, Justin Trudeau, is standing up and saying we're going to get to net zero by 2050, while simultaneously increasing production of fossil fuels by 30%. This fraudulent, lying bullshit that we're constantly being peddled, that we're constantly having crammed down our throats, while everyone is being told, hey, the 70% of the population that's producing 10% of the emissions, those are the people who need to reduce their consumption. Those are the people who need to do less. The 10% of the population that's producing 70% of the emissions, well, that's just free market capitalism, baby. Chaos brings order. Let's go. It's a despicable, duplicitous display of overt betrayal towards a populace that we can say as cleanly and clearly as we can that we have been abandoned, that this society that has no rules, that does not care about its own populace, that is actively putting us on the path of destruction, that is quite literally funding the destructive forces that are going to burn our cities down should no longer be obeyed. They have no loyalty to us. They have abandoned us. We should abandon them back. We need to organize. We need to revolt. We need to rebel. We need to repent from our many overt and obvious sins. And if we don't, the sun will burn us down. And it will continue to burn us down until we are either gone or we have humbled ourselves before the might of an all-powerful universe. Come into my live stream, 6 to 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. We have to begin the organizational process of recovering from this period of dark energy that has taken over our society and erected a capitalist death cult. If we don't, then we're just going to humbly march into massive floods and wildfires. Like, share, subscribe the video, send this shit around. We can't go down silently. The people who are standing up and are actually saying that we have to fight back against these psychopaths, these are the people that need funding. I need funding. I've got a Patreon down below. Consider giving $1. We need to keep pushing. We need to keep fighting, and we need to keep talking about these people for what they are. They are the dark empire. They are like Darth Vader from the Star Wars movies. They are these evil, Machiavellian, psychopathic, vampiric ghouls who will happily watch you die. And they're lying directly in your face to ensure that you don't actually realize that what you should be doing is going to where they work, going to where they live, and shitting on them directly. Always remember, you guys, you are a quantum being standing around in quantum energy. The time you have here is temporary. Why are you selling yourself to a capitalist death cult? Revolt, rebel, repent. Good luck. We're gonna need it.